The modern battlefield isn't just on land or sea or in the air. It's also on your phone. With the internet and social media, we can watch war unfold in real time in a way like never before. It's really something else. Missile strikes, drone attacks, explosions, they captured seconds after they happen. Here's the problem, though. Sometimes what you're watching and sharing isn't real. Seeing isn't believing anymore. That's the problem. And in a conflict this important, I'm talking about Iran, we need to know the truth. You see, fact checkers and open source analysts say some of the most viral images of this conflict were generated by AI. One example making the rounds online appears to show a before and after of a destroyed U.S. radar installation in Qatar. Now, the before image shows the site intact, and the after image shows a smoking crater. However, the after photo, that's apparently fake. Then there's this video claiming to show a compilation of Iranian leaders being killed in airstrikes during raids into Iran. Looks dramatic, multiple explosions, bodies flying. Analysts say that entire clip was created using AI video generation tools. And then there's this video, okay, spreading online, claims to show a U.S. aircraft carrier being hit and sinking at sea. Now, the footage looks like a Hollywood movie, right? In a way, it is. Digital forensics experts say that video was produced with AI by an account linked to China. So what's the result? There's a new kind of war. It's an information war where viral videos can spread around the world before anybody knows if they're real. And that may be the most powerful weapon that our enemies have. Though it's not just our enemies playing fast and loose with the videos. I mean, today, White House posted this video on X. It's a mix of real footage from the Iran strikes with an animation from the video game Call of Duty 3. There's nothing to indicate part of the video isn't real, and the video game footage is so realistic that it wouldn't be a stretch for people to believe it's real. But fortunately, we know somebody, an expert, who can help spot the fakes. Tell us what to think about. Jake Green, technical lead of digital forensics and Invista Forensics, friend of the show. Thanks for taking the time. I got to tell you, some of these war videos look incredibly convincing. I imagine they're going to be even more convincing as time goes on. What are the most common telltale signs that people should be on the lookout for to know if a video or an image is fake, if it was created with AI?
I think really what is that video trying to tell you is really the first thing that we fall into is this something that's supposed to be sensationalist? Is it something that's supposed to grab our attention? Is it something that is designed to skew an aspect, to make us think something else? So it's usually what we look for first is what is this really trying to tell us? From a forensic standpoint, two of the most common pieces that we look for are shadows and physics. In a few of those videos that we've seen, we see some very consistent issues across all of them with those same things of shadows and physics. So AI is becoming really good at making media for us to see. However, it's very difficult for them to change physics and change the shadows.
How quickly can you detect that? Do you have tools, digital forensic tools that experts use to verify whether a video or image is fake? How quickly can you look at that? What tools do you use?
So it's important to note that anytime that we transmit media to social media, to an email, I gave your producers a screenshot that I created myself. Metadata is stripped when it is made public. So if you post something on Facebook, you post something on Instagram, Twitter, the metadata that existed from that original is not the same. In digital forensics, we rely very firstly on that metadata to determine, is this a true and accurate copy? The screen we see here, that is what I made within just a few seconds of looking at this video. We knew that, or this clip, we knew that there were issues. The three vehicles that are on the street in front of this installation, this is a naval air station in Bahrain. It was purported to be Qatar. So many different pieces jump out here. The shadows are at the exact same position. The cars are in the exact same position. Even the what appears to be a gate to the left of the vehicles on the street is ajar at the exact same angle, the exact same distance. It's really interesting to see that from a Google Maps screenshot is where this originated from. When we look at the video or this screenshot, when we think of what north is, it's nowhere near what the accurate scene is. So they have twisted this scene to match their what they want to purport, and then they've added many different pieces. I'm not an explosives expert, but I know that when explosions happen, physics is involved heavily, especially in directional patterns for debris. And in this one, we see kind of a sprinkling of debris across the entire scene.
Well, by the way, who makes this stuff? Is it the enemy? Is it our enemies? Is it just people, pranksters, looking to have a video go viral? As you said, maybe they're trying to make a message. I mean, who's making this?
I think at the end of the day, it's people that are looking to make money. If they can purport this to be a real video and sell it to somebody, they're going to make funds off of that. If they're going to get clicks and likes and interactions with the social media platforms themselves, they're going to get money from that and ad revenue as well.
Real quick, about 30 seconds. Any guardrails that social media companies have in place to spot this and take it off?
Not that we've seen. Really, the closest that I have seen is the community notes that can be added to some
Those are helpful.
posts.
Yeah, those are helpful. Those help. I always take a look at those. Jake Green, I really appreciate your insight on this. Again, I think it's tremendously important when you're dealing with, I don't care about like a cat surfing, on a tidal wave, and we wonder whether or not that's real. I hope it's real, but it's not. But, this is something that's happening in real time. You have lives at stake. There's a ton of consequences. I think it's important to make sure we can separate fact from fiction. Jake Green, by the way, you're real, right? This was a real conversation. You're a real person as far as we know?
Most days.
Okay,
Most
good.
days.
Good to know. All right, Jake Green, thanks so much for taking the time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Yep.